face
Have a
plant
little
into
fun.
it. Yeah, but this fucking commercial,
Play a little
I'm like,
and listen
man,
to them
Gabe
because I'm
Sanchez totally could
loving.
have wrote
I
this
tried to
commercial.
do.
I know. There's a part of me. There's a part of me
a little
where, and I don't know
of.
what I'll do it, so I'll just say it on the show right now. Well, after watching that
Alice
commercial,
morning,
and
and
honestly, after
it was
talking
good, but
more
he had to
about
go
the
early,
affirmations
so
just moments ago,
we're just gonna
there
go
was an
and
idea
go
that
with Tony
basically would
and
have me eat, and I haven't had
have
chocolate
them in
pudding
the
in a
background.
very, very long time. It's been years since I've had chocolate pudding.
What?
Yeah, I don't.
Oh,
I mean,
okay,
why do
well.
I need chocolate pudding? You know. So my idea was that I would stand in front of a mirror or something like that, right? And then the camera would be off screen, and I would basically be
he was going to
crying.
do that commercial.
And this is,
Into
you
your
know,
pudding?
Everybody
and
wanted to do this
in many
commercial.
ways, this is like an art piece, right? This is some fucking weird art that's happening right now, where basically there were two ideas. Okay, one was I'm in front of the mirror and the camera's off, and you see me crying and eating pudding, and I'm telling myself that I am worthy and I am deserving of all of these things that happen, right? The other idea is, I don't know if you remember, there is an old video that was done by, it was recreated by Macaulay Culkin, and it was originally done by, why am I blanking on his name? He ate Burger King. He's an artist. God damn it! Why am I blanking on my name? Andy Warhol. There we go. Andy Warhol. Okay.
Warhol.
There's a video of Andy
It's
Warhol,
a Warhol.
eating a burger, and that's all that it
yeah, I
is,
know
right?
that
He
one.
opens it up, he
Warhol.
eats the burger, boom, boom, boom. Macaulay Culkin did a recreation of that for his band called Pizza Underground years ago.
Okay.
And so my piece would be called Pudding Underground, and it would just be me
I like
slowly eating
just
pudding.
with
And the thing is,
three
the way that the
fingers.
video goes,
Three
there's
fingers.
no words. It's just eating
three
and looking
fingers
straight
of
into
Is
the
it like
camera.
ASMR? Like it
Kind
would be
of,
into,
kind of.
that's
I
all
guess.
you would hear, like the sound.
I mean,
that,
like you see the unwrapping
maybe
of
be
the
like
bag
violin
and stuff.
music and
I don't think there's any. Let me
no
see.
crying violins or anything.
Because the thing is, he did it as a well.
Because
obviously
of
I'm
it-
just
well, I was
saying.
thinking
Well,
Andy
I'm
Warhol
trying.
did it
I'm
as like
trying
a-
to be
doing a
creative here.
quick
Damn it.
zoo.
No, I know, but
right
I'm not
here
trying
to
to.
keep
I'm not
people
trying to
happy.
modify the original too
Oh,
much. All I'm
you
doing,
just want to parody it.
yeah, because that's all that it is, right? There's no need. You know, people would know. Oh, that's this. That's this. That I don't
Right.
need to make anything else about it, because the whole point was you were sitting there. It's this art piece, right? You're sitting there and you're eating this piece of food. So originally it was Burger King, and then it was just a slice of New York pizza that came out of a brown bag with Macaulay Culkin, and then mine would be opening up.
So this is performance art.
This is performance art as a joke, obviously, but it's performance art in the
Oh
sense
my
of
God.
like, this is what I'm doing. So again, I don't know if I will actually do it, but those were the two ideas that I had based on seeing that ad. Really, I was like, wow, they
Right.
really went there with the three fingers.
Well, you know
That's
what's
like,
crazy
that's
is
like that's what you do when you're trying to throw up.
Right. Well, you know, we were talking about this when the pudding fingers story first came out.
Right.
And we said on the show, I believe, and we can go back and look at the tape. I keep saying tape like I'm in the 90s, like it's a fucking
We'll go back and look at the
And
tape.
there is.
We'll go back and
There's
look at the tape.
we have an intern.
You put it on
in the back.
VHS?
We have, yeah, every day
okay.
we have
Every
a
day
recorder
on
on
I
VHS.
converted to
Because some people are like,
VHS.
oh, look,
Takes
can
a
you
bitch of a
digitize
long
this
time.
old VHS or this high
No,
8
we're
tape or something like that?
we're
No.
VHS and digitized.
No, we analogize, if that's even a word.
We go backwards.
We take it from,
digital and take it back to
digital,
analog.
and then we have an intern off in a closet somewhere, and we tell him, hey, I need you to record this. And so many times he's just filming from the phone, you know,
Right.
of the show on the computer, and then takes that phone version and then translates
okay.
it into a VHS quality.
You know what, when I say
It's like
when,
bootleg, you know?
when I say play the tape,
Uh-huh.
I feel like Dara Faye is like, boomer, boomer, like every time. Like, goddamn. So if we played the clip back of when the pudding fingers first started, we said on the show, we were like, hey, Trump campaign, Liz Harrington, if you're listening, I'm almost sure of it. We were you need to make this fucking ad.
Yeah.
And boom, here several weeks later, here we are. We got the
because
fucking
what
ad.
we saw was he was doing He didn't talk about it in his little videos he makes from Mar-a-Lago, and he didn't talk about it in his interview with Sean Hannity. And we're like, man, you're talking
Pierce
about
Morgan asked Ron DeSantis about it, and Ron DeSantis laughed weirdly and
he's like,
awkward.
Oh, no.
I never did it.
I didn't do that.
And then he like
I
looks off screen. He's like,
that.
get the pudding away. Get the
Right. They're cleaning the
I'm sure if you do look
table.
at the tape, you'll hear us joke about this.
Right. Well, I'm almost sure of it because every time we say something to the Trump campaign, they take our advice like every single fucking time.
Okay, I'm gonna have to put one out.
It's almost like
was this ad paid for by the Trump campaign?
Yeah, Make America Great Again Inc. So it's his
America Great Again,
which is weird. His super PAC is incorporated, not. Anyways, it's really weird. He's got obviously he's laundering money through his political campaign of how he structured it, and I'm sure he's going to get fucking knocked for this. He's now being investigated for wire fraud for his credit card fraud that he fucking laid on his supporters in the December of 2020 when he was like, "Nah, we won. Give me your money.
Yeah,
here, click here, and you'll give $5 every just once."
Yeah.
Wink,
in
wink.
perpetuity until you die.
Right,
you know?
which is a thing you can't do. Like it's against law to do it the way they did it.
The way that it is done is you have you have to
clearly explain what happened because I didn't explain.
Yeah. So basically, when somebody went on to the election fraud defense fund, right? That's what it was.
Which isn't an actual thing. There's no fund.
Yeah. The money wasn't used. I mean, it was revealed during the Jan 6. I mean,
it was dumping into a bank account, but who knows?
Like, even in after it happened, I made a video making fun of this. Right after it was announced that he had this fund, I was like, if we look at the ratio or the percentage right now, originally it was 60% to the Save America PAC, and then 40% went to the RNC.
That's what they said at the time.
And that's what they said at the time. And the way that it breaks down is you have to. Like he said, okay, 60-40, right? But the way that it actually was is the Save America PAC can be used to pay off his personal debts, right?
Right, he can stick it in his pocket.
Anything he wants. That's the problem with that.
For his own personal debts.
Right.
And in the RNC, they can use it for whatever.
And they can use it to pay off his own personal debts.
Right. So when he says, hey, it's going to be going to this defense fund to fight election fraud, it's not actually going to that because they don't have to actually show you where the money's being used. So that's the big red flag right there. But of course, people are like, oh yeah, I'll donate money, okay? Yeah. Now, the issue here, which is
the fraud. Go to the fraud.
Yeah, the fraud is that when you donated, you were like, yeah, I want to donate $5 or $10 or $20 or whatever. Now, there is a way in which donations and payments work where you have to opt in. Right. You can't opt out. So you opt in to say, yeah, I want to make this a monthly recurring donation, right? That's the way that it works. And if
not
you do
what
happen to
Trump
have that,
was
you need
doing.
to clearly state.
It has to show it, and you have to click a box and confirm
it. When you say I pay, right, accept, I want to pay, I want to agree to this, you have to have right there, opt in, and not only that, but you have to clearly state, this is going to be a monthly recurring that you'll be charged on the first of the month or whatever it is, right?
Kind of put it in there, but they bury it so heavily
not only was it already clicked, but it wasn't near where you would be like, oh yeah, I want to pay, right? It was not shown anywhere near. It was somewhere else.
It was at the
another
beginning,
section that was
right
below
where you
the
start,
fold,
right?
Where this checkbox
and it was automatically opt-in.
Opt-in, no
so
matter
basically
what.
What happened is people were like, "Oh yeah, I'll $5, $10,
it was
$20,
way
whatever."
back at the
people
beginning.
Were like $100 if they want to do it, thinking it was
not at the
one
end.
time. Then what happened is every month people started getting these charges, and then started realizing, wait, I'm getting this is a monthly charge I'm being charged right now by this thing.
Can you imagine if you went on there and you're like, I want to give this guy $1,000, right?
Oh yeah.
And you go on there
I'm
like
sure
$1,000, and let's say your credit card limit's like
many
14 grand or some shit.
Yeah.
And it took like 3 or 4 months before you know it. Your credit card bill's $4,000 or $5,000, which is what happened.
Card bill,
which is why it's the biggest credit card fraud ever.
Personal accounts.
I'm going to say this again. This Donald Trump's 2020 big lie campaign is the biggest and most widespread credit card fraud ever in the history of credit cards.
Yep.
There is no credit card fraud that is larger than his. And now Jack Smith is investigating it as wire fraud.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because it's not because like Visa or MasterCard allowed this, right? He really scammed Visa and MasterCard here. Because what he did was he programmed it to fucking scam them by opting people in.
Yeah.
Automatically. They programmed the actual shopping cart to make sure that it opted in.
Because
which
what happened
was illegal.
And so what Tony's talking about here is when you make
you
a
are
charge,
not supposed
right,
to do that.
Then
and
you
that's
say,
the problem.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
They actually
but if there are
said,
charges
okay, no,
that
we're
are
fine.
not
We're going to do that, and we'll be.
There's a whole thing that happens right now because
I am
a
so
lot of
hoping
times
because
like, I didn't approve that charge. The credit card company has to say, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to cancel that card because they can't cancel recurring donation. They can't cancel this payment.
Right.
What has to happen is either you have to actively go out and cancel it, which is you have to jump through a bunch of hoops to do it. Because that's how they make it for Trump.
On purpose.
Or any other scam, if they're like, oh yeah, you can cancel, but they're like, you got to call this number and you got to do this thing, you got to fill this form and do this. So what ends up happening.
What the heck?
The actual credit card companies then
the
processor have to look at the debts now that are owed because they're like, well, I didn't approve this purchase.
So they have to go back and actually put that back.
Has to, pay back the person who donated, right? Who had money stolen from them. And they say, oh, well, you didn't approve this. Okay, we will reimburse you.
We'll reimburse you, and then they have to get that back from Trump.
Was given money, or the Trump campaign was given money by the donor, right? And the donor didn't approve it. So the bank says, shit, well, now we got to go out of pocket to pay back the donor. Even though that credit cards are just, credit is made up money. Let's just call it what it is.
Fucking God dang it. I hate this thing. It does this all the time. Stop.
But they were
all money is made up. Really.
Yeah. Right. But, the credit card company right now, the bank is now
the way that it's done
because
now.
They have money that they were told they were going to get, right? And they had to cover the transaction fee, the processing fee. And then they also now have to say, well, shit, now we got to put money from what you said you were going to owe us or that we're going to be owed to back into your account to say you actually don't owe it. Meanwhile, Trump campaign is like, oh, yeah, man, we're flying high. We've got the money. We don't care. And we're not going to pay you back.
Right. And we're never going to pay you back.
The people who got fucked over were the banks, which is like, okay.
No, because they will never get their next. If they have another allotment, they'll never get that.
Who were defrauded by the Trump campaign because they didn't know that they were making a payment that was done on a recurring basis. And again, like you might not look at your finances for a month or 2 months because, it's whatever. You're like, oh, yeah, I'll pay my credit card. But if you
especially if it's automatically coming out.
Or it's like $5 every month, you probably wouldn't notice that, thinking like, oh, $5, I bought a pack of gum or a pack of cigarettes.
That's what they're counting on.
Can you imagine if
$5 and $10?
One of these people had like because a lot of home equity lines
or 3,000
have like a credit card processor attached to it. They used to give you like a checkbook for like a home equity, but sometimes they'll give you a number, like a debit number. So some of these people, the fucking processor was processing out of their fucking lines of credit on their mortgage, which doesn't have the same protection as like a credit card with Visa or MasterCard.
Correct.
So that's why this is one of the biggest fucking bank and wire frauds in the history. Well, it is the biggest.
When you put these things on there, you put them on a card that's guaranteed.
It's the largest fucking credit card fraud that has ever happened.
Right.
And that's the other thing too is like when you have a credit card, if there's fraud or there's a charge that was not approved by you, the credit card company will say, "Great, we got you. We'll cover it. We'll figure it out."
Right. But when it gets to the
debit,
because there's fraud protection.
Right. Exactly. But a debit card, that's straight up just cash in an account. If that money's gone, that money's gone. And very, very, very
difficult to get back.
Does a bank say, "Okay, we'll actually pull money out of our own pocket"?
Well, they actually
sometimes
a lot of times
will.
The bank
depends on the bank.
Will give you your funds when they recover it from the people who took it. Not from out of thin
So
air.
I'm sure, that's something that's still going on, right? And so, like, these people lost their money, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of the people that gave the money then got charged, without approval on these recurring charges, then said, "Oh, you know what? I'll give more money. I'm not hurt or upset about it."
Right. There's a certain percentage that they're going to go.
The funny part is that,
okay.
like, with this Jack Smith investigation, everyone's like, lock him up for the documents. Because yesterday we watched this. Well, how do you say his name? James Texera? What's this trader's
terrorist?
Name?
Trader?
James Trader. Anyway, the one that Marjorie Taylor Greene is defending.
Defending. She's defending because he's a white boy.
Hours of finding
I'm sorry. The only reason she's defending him is because he's a white boy.
He was outside on the porch reading Mein
Reading
Kampf.
Mein Kampf.
Now, I don't know that it's Mein Kampf, but I'm just guessing.
Well, he's reading.
I mean, you can safely assume based on
It-
other
it
entries
could
that he's
be.
made online that it's
It
probably,
probably
could
was
be.
Mein Kampf.
I don't know
or
if it's a
something
signed
close to
copy.
it.
Well, I mean, they
Probably
like
very
signed
close
copies.
to
I mean,
it.
you know,
Let's just put it
they're
that way.
accustomed
Hitler
to
loving
liking
billionaire
signed copies.
Harlan
Yep.
Crow.
Right.
I can't say
Harlan Hitler.
Harlan Hitler. That's right. Harlan Hitler. I can't say if it was a signed copy.
Don't say derogatory things here on the Tony Michaels podcast.
Right.
It's Harlan Hitler.
Right.
Okay?
Right. And the
Harlan
house that he was
Hitler.
picked up
Calm.
at, and the house that he was picked up at, wasn't the house
Oh, I got
that
more on
Harlan
that
Crow
story.
paid for.
Oh, I got more on that story.
Yeah.
That's great. I got something this morning that you're gonna love, Gabe Sanchez. I don't even know if you've seen it yet. Margie points out, "Hello, sparklers. Welcome to all the sparklers. There must be a lot of sparklers in the chat today." Hey, do you have? I've got the
Yes,
the main.
I'm a
tile and the winter
sparkler,
tile,
'cause
but
I
you have the
came
rest
from
of them.
Hal's
You put
Park
them in
show,
the
too.
Drive.
Oh yeah.
Then
yeah.
then
We come in
go
from
to,
Hal's show.
Bonehead of the week. But I want to show you one video here, and this video,
Whoa.
it's kind of a lesson.
Park filled
to
up really
manga.
quickly.
And really, honestly,
Maybe I'll put in
if
another
they would just
parking
watch
lot.
this video a couple times and really understand how these things work, they would be much better off. A lot of people have seen this video, but I think it's worth seeing that we're seeing a lot of face planting from manga right now. Let's go ahead and review this for them, for the haters here who love to come hate watch. Let me show them something.
We talk about how we can find out and how much we can find out and what it takes to get there. So first we have to decide how much do we want to find out. So let's say in this case, I want to find out at a level of 7. Okay, so I find that
What?
level on my graph and I come horizontally
What?
to my gradient line. Where it intersects with my gradient line, I'm going to come straight down to where it intersects with my fuck around line. Now there's going to
Okay,
tell
I
me
get it.
how much I have to fuck around
Hold
to
on.
find out what I need to find out. See, as you can
I
see,
love that. I
the
love
more
that.
you fuck
Hold on.
around, the more you're going to find out. And also, if you stay down here and you never fuck around, you'll never find out. So I hope this lesson is helpful. Thank you.
I mean, look, there's no clearer message and like life lesson than that right there, right? Like the ability to be like, look, if we just follow the x-axis, down here, and the y-axis up here, if we follow, we meet up, boop boop, we'll find out if you fuck around, right?
It's so incredible that you just watch that. Have you listened to the entire 10 minutes? Well, it's almost 10 minutes of audio from the Tennessee
No.
House Republican.
Oh,
caucus
from the
meeting?
Republicans.
The one that was
Oh.
Calling
secretly
us
reported?
racist. They're calling,
Yeah,
they're
of
calling
course,
us
because you're racist
because
assholes.
We don't like that. I've
You're
never,
bigots.
in my entire white existence, I've never been called a racist in public. It's discriminatory.
The people, I mean, like, you can tell 100. I mean, I think I quote tweeted the Tennessee Holler, and I was like, dude, Republicans are scared, and good, they should be, right? This is them being scared inside, like, Democrats aren't going to help us, and they're the enemy.
The reason
and we're
that you
being
no
called
longer are
racist,
seeing the
and it
trucks
wasn't
here is because the
racist,
trucks
they're
are
being
now
a
way
good old boy.
over.
And it's like, no, you guys are being racist, and your shit fucking it flopped. You face planted.
Yep.
It fucking backfired on
on your ass so heavily. I
magnificently.
love it.
So
that
hard.
Thank you
thought that you
guys
could
for
pull this
actually pointing
fascist
it out.
little
Bigoted
little play
bullshit.
here. And
Yep.
what had to? Oh, look, they come back, voted back unanimously, safe and sound. So if you guys try to fuck around again, you're gonna find out. I mean, you're finding out right now because they're
Right.
being investigated, or they're planning to be investigated.
The craziest part to me is, like, if they would have just not acted out
Just
on their
been-
hatred to get rid of these members
Yep.
for being loud in the well for a matter of seconds,
Seconds.
then number one, we would still not really know who Representative Jones and Representative Pearson are.
Are.
Now the
we
other
would
thing,
not
the other thing is
know
they
these
wouldn't
black
have to
men
afford them now
are.
time to speak on
But
the
they
floor.
decided that they were
have
gonna make
now
sure that these
give
black
Jones
men
and
were well
Pearson the microphone, or
known
they really
from this
do,
point on.
because they're like, I don't want to be called racist anymore, so let him speak.
Yeah.
Like, you people
Just
are dumb
exactly,
as dog
you're
shit.
dumb as-
Like,
thank
I wouldn't
you.
be surprised if they end up being like, oh well, now we have to make up for it, and so we're gonna give them the mic as many times as they want.
and
Which
it
is like,
makes it even
fine,
worse.
that's
It makes it
okay.
even worse,
Yeah.
right? Because Representative Pearson and Representative Jones are no dummies. They're not stupid.
Yeah.
They're not going to take your shit laying down, right? They're going to come right after you, and they're going to keep fighting. It's obvious. Otherwise, these two representatives would have went, we're just going to go home, and I'll sit on the sidelines and try to gain my influence on social media by sitting on the. No, they got right back in the fight immediately
and make money off of it, not actually do anything about helping.
Into the open hallway, they're like, we're not fucking.
See, if they had been white boys,
and the thing is that.
And see,
Tennessee,
I'll get crap for
the
that,
Republicans
but I don't care
did this
because
for
it's
clout
true.
For their bigoted
it's
ass
just
base,
fucking true.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And
you
their
don't
bigoted
like hearing the
constituency
truth.
that wants them to continue this nonsense. When they could just say to their constituent, look, if you don't want to vote for us because we're not bigots, fine, whatever, but we're not going to continue this fucking bigotry. We're going to do the work of the people. And Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, they don't they don't go be martyrs and be on social media and gain a social media following and give away their seat. No, they get right back in the fight for their constituents that they're representing. And that is the difference between Democrats in this country right now and Republicans. Is Democrats are interested in actual democracy. They're interested in governing. They're interested in representing their constituents. The Republicans are not. They're not interested in governing. They're not interested in representing their constituents. They are not interested in anything that doesn't have to do with anything but hate. Right. That's all they want to have anything to do with.
And I think, to the point that we've definitely discussed this since the moment it happened, we're like, look, the Republican Party, with their own kind of naivete or ignorance or whatever you want to call it, right? They created
100%
national icons. Well, really international icons, because everyone's like, hey, what's going on in Tennessee? That's really fucked up, right? And I don't doubt that both of these guys, Justin Pearson and Justin Jones, like would have found themselves on a national stage at some point, right?
Oh God, yes.
Absolutely.
But not because of this.
Probably.
This
no
actually
doubt
just
about it. In a matter of days,
forward.
Right? The Republican Party decided, hey, you know what we're going to do?
You know what?
We're going to help platform you guys up and accelerate your career in politics by putting your name on the international stage, right?
It's not very big, but it's just big enough to have the
helping them out, right? They hurt the Republican Party hurt themselves. They fucking shot themselves like fucking Plaxco, shot himself with his own gun, like it's one of those moments where it's just it's a face plant, or it's like in the cartoons when the farmer's in the yard and he like hits the rake, boom, the rake hits him in the head, then steps one, boom, boom, hits him in the rake, right? It's just like, or I think like Foghorn Leghorn does that, right? Like where he steps on the rake and it hits him in the face.
Well,
and he steps I say, boom, I say, boom, I say, boom.
Exactly.
Like it's that over and over again. And every time they think, "Hey,
and
look,
you
I'm going to
realize
turn
that
this
that's
direction
what he's making. That's what
and
they
do
were
something
in
else."
the
But really,
40s.
when you pan out, you realize
that's what they were making fun of.
In the center point of a circle of
that's what they were making fun of.
Which
is kind of crazy because a lot of the Warner folks
were professional rake steppers, like this Mike Moon of Missouri.
Oh,
Remember, we watched this video yesterday of Mike Moon in a fucking hearing where I don't know shit's being recorded, and he justifies his vote to make sure 12-year-old girls, because listen, they are not voting for 12-year-old boys to be married. That's not what they're fucking doing. They're talking about 12-year-old girls because they're like, what? Little boys shouldn't get married. That would hinder their manhood later on in life. They're talking about 12-year-old girls. And what happened is it went fucking viral. This Senator Mike Moon, a state senator from the state of Missouri. This motherfucker had to get out in front of the cameras and do this. This is a fucking video of him. It's almost like a hostage video, but he uses the Bible. I'm serious.
Of course they use the Bible because they have to use the
Missouri
Bible.
Republican Party's like, hey man, you got to get out in front of a fucking camera and you got to figure out a way to make us not look like pedophiles, man. It's the same freak out that the Tennessee Republicans are having by appearing to be the racist that they are, that Mike Moon is appearing to be the pedophile he probably fucking is.
Yeah.
I mean, the guys...
let's be honest with ourselves here. The fact that they talk about it so frequently probably means that the people who are talking about it probably are privy to acts that have been done either by someone else or themselves and they're like, "Oh, this is the first thing that's on my mind. I'm going to talk about how we should marry and it should be okay to." I know people who've married 12-year-old. It's like the fact that you use
the fact
that
that
as
you
like,
know that and that you know these
that's
people
the flex you're going
is
to have on the
really
defense.
scary and disgusting.
The story that he tells in this, have you seen this
what
video?
brain
No, I
do
haven't
they
seen the video.
have? I want to know that.
I'm
What is
telling you,
in
when you
your
first- when
brain
you-
that you
when you hear his
believe that
cadence,
this is the
when you
kind
hear
of
how
shit
he's
that
trying
this
to tell
world
the
should
story,
be about?
His breathing.
How
he's
does
very
do
fucking
you
nervous,
get a
you can
brain
tell,
that way?
Because there's a lot at stake.
And I'm having a
on
hard
this
time
video,
believing
and
it's
the
his
reason why is
parents
because
just
they've had a
teaching their
caucus
kids
meeting
like
like
this.
the audio we listened to in the Tennessee caucus.
Yeah.
They came together like, what the fuck are you doing? Why in the fuck are you saying this shit in an open hearing when you're openly supporting? Because almost every single fucking Republican voted the way Mike Moon did. Almost every fucking one of them voted the way that Mike Moon did. Okay? So when Mike Moon says that in a hearing, what people hear is the entire Republican Party thinks that way. And
Because that is the way the entire
because
Republican
they want
Party
12-year-old
thinks.
girls to be married, not boys, girls. Because listen to the example that he gives in this
Look
story,
at what
which
the
I don't know if
Republican
it's
Party
real.
is
Honestly,
today.
I'm sure
It
journalists
has
are going to try to
nothing
chase
to do
this
with
down, and it's going to be
anything
completely
but
fucking bogus.
white
They made this
male
story
fragility.
up. They manufactured
Period.
this story so that he could give this hostage video here. But he uses the weirdest fucking stories in the Bible to justify.
Right.
I mean, there's so much stuff in the Bible where little girls get married off to older men that he could use an example, but he can't use that example because that's a horrible example from the book that they so think is sacred. So he uses Jesus being crucified for some reason. But listen, this is fucking weird. Watch this.
As I contemplated the bill, I was reminded
As I
of a couple I'd met years
contemplated the
before.
bill.
When this couple was in their teens, actually preteens,
Okay, so there's the first sense of a lie
Preteens.
when he's
Right.
like in their teens. I mean, actually preteens.
preteens.
So what he means is them
So
being
before
younger
13.
than 13.
Yeah.
there's
Before
the fuck he's saying.
13.
Because
12.
I mean, preteen.
Remember
I
when
think
I was
it's-
playing
I mean,
with my
like, the only time I've
Tinker
ever
toy,
heard
my
preteen is
giant
12,
Tinker
right?
toys
Right,
at
you're 11 or
11.
12.
Yeah, 11
Yeah,
or 12.
11 and
which
12. I'm
lines
really
up with
thinking
this whole,
about
I know
marriage.
people who got married or who fucking.
I want
married.
12-year-olds
Oh my
get
God,
married,
what disgusting
Because
people
that's
these
what
people
that's
are.
literally
Just
what they said in the
disgusting.
hearing. He voted for a bill.
You
that would
literally
give
call
parents
people
consent
like me
to give away
cockroaches
their
and
12-year-olds
think about
hand
that.
in
What you
marriage,
want
and they're
to
not
do
talking
to
about
God?
boys.
Oh, you are
That's
disgusting.
not
people.
that's not what these
I'm
motherfuckers
sorry, you're
are thinking
fucking
of,
disgusting.
people. Trust me, they're not
You are
talking about
just pathetic,
12-year-old boys get married to
icky,
30-year-old women.
disgusting
So that's not what's
fucking
happening.
I just looked it up.
Pedophile
And
is
preteen actually
motherfuckers
is
who just don't give a
10
fuck
to
about
12, which
anything.
is even fucking worse.
Whoa!
God
Oh, fuck.
damn.
So first he rake steps on
Yeah.
the fucking on the words in the fucking statement. Okay,
He goes
so
teens. He's like, actually preteen. No,
Actually,
Change.
I mean, like teens,
Wow.
like you could. Teenagers, you could say, maybe that's
Yeah, like
12,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
13,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
to maybe 17, right?
Right. You're like,
So
it's
that's
getting
a
close
wide
to
range.
like an acceptable.
He's like, no,
oh, you
I'm
have
talking
consent."
about really young
Preteens.
children.
We're talking
Like,
10.
right. Oh, when I mean I'm a pedophile, I'm a bona fide pedophile.
Pedophile.
So let's listen to his justification of preteens. Let's listen.
they took actions that resulted in the girl becoming pregnant.
Okay, so this is one of the best parts. He says they took actions
They took action.
when they were in their preteens as a result of this girl getting pregnant. He totally whitewashes the fact that you gotta fuck to make a baby.
Yeah.
Like
what are
totally
these
just
actions, huh?
right.
What
Like
are these-
what other action are you talking about besides the actual action of impregnation?
You know what I think it is? They didn't
What's
have
that?
sex, Tony. They didn't
Oh,
have
okay.
sex because no one has sex, of course, until they're married.
Right.
So maybe
especially real
possibilities-
white Christian nationalists.
Two possibilities here. One is they got married at 10, 11, 12 because they were
Right.
preteen, and then they fornicated, right?
Right.
They had sex, and then she got pregnant. Or the other possibility is that, immaculate conception, and God was like, yo, here's a baby, and put it inside of her. And that was the action that was done,
Oh,
right?
fuck. You think, no, maybe, you know what it could be? It could be that these preteens, these 10, 11, and 12-year-olds, they opened up a fertility lab in their garage.
Oh.
And that's probably, and they did
Yeah,
artificial
that makes sense.
insemination in the garage with
Right,
their
right, right.
fertility lab. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
10, 11, 12-year-olds do this kind of stuff all
I
the time.
mean,
They take
yeah.
these actions all the time.
Yeah. They're
Okay,
like,
so this
ooh,
is his
cooties
point.
made me pregnant. Ooh.
Right. So this is his claim. So already the story smells
Hold on,
like shit.
Hold on. Quesadilla 79. The Holy Spirit. Ski ski.
Oh my god! I'm telling you, like we have like professional comedians in our chats. We
There's,
really
I
do.
mean, I feel like there's so much, like everyone is in the chat and ourselves. Like there's so much volume. Like we'll
I
set each
know.
other up. The chat will set themselves
Boom,
up.
boom, boom,
we set
boom,
the chat
boom.
up. The chat sets us up. It's just a bunch of.
Oh
there's
my
a
God.
lot of like
Well,
writers' room
why the
feel
hell
of
do you
throwing
think
ideas.
so many people come here every day? This and no pun intended. No
Yeah.
pun
Well,
intended.
Not if you're
I don't
talking
know,
about
maybe-
him.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Let's finish with this bogus ass. I really think this story's bogus. I
I
think
don't
it's
know.
all
Let me
bullshit.
hear. I want to hear the whole thing through.
It's
and then I will assess if it's real or not.
I know it doesn't feel like this point that it can get better, but it gets better. Listen.
Okay.
The youngsters' parents decided to allow the children to marry. They weren't forced. However, because they were not mature and could not provide for themselves, they grew up with their families in different states.
Okay, so they're not mature. They're not mature, but they were mature enough. The parents thought that they would consent to the marriage because they were mature enough, to get married.
Right.
These pre-teens, these
So
youngsters.
they were mature enough to have a baby,
Right.
So you're mature enough to hey, little girl,
Right.
you
Mhm.
have to go 9,
That's right.
possibly more months through physical, emotional, mental trauma, right? Stress on your body when you don't even understand what's going on. You now have to bear another body inside of you when you're developing.
And
the
then
parents
then
say-
there's a 12-year-old boy in this story too.
right,
because
but that
that-
12-year-old boy's probably not
Yeah,
around. He's playing sports and hanging out
But
on
this
the
is
playground.
what makes
playing
this
with
is
other
what makes
girls.
this all bullshit and fake. This is what makes this all bullshit and fake is that there's a 12-year-old boy, because this Mike Moon can't say there's a 25-year-old man who impregnated a 12-year-old girl
Right.
and then the parents consented with him and it was not a forced marriage. He can't say that shit because no one's gonna believe that bullshit. No one's
Right.
going to believe that fucking story that a 25-year-old man impregnated a 12-year-old girl and the parents didn't force her to have a baby and get fucking married to him.
Right.
They're not going to
And-
believe that shit. So he has to make up a story where a 12-year-old and a 12-year-old are having a baby and then they get married, not forced. Oh, the parents,
Right.
they loved each other. And then they moved, they separated away. The parents consented for them to get married and then separated them
Yeah.
and they lived in different states. This is
it
all
doesn't
bullshit.
make any sense.
It's all bullshit.
where
This
they're
ain't
like-
fucking real.
They're like,
no
oh,
fucking way.
They
Prove it, Mike Moon.
They made them get married, but didn't make them get married.
Right.
But then made them divorce, but didn't make them get divorced.
Come on. This is fucking phony. Prove it, Mike Moon. Tell us
You know
who
what?
these
If
people
I-
are.
if
They're
I-
adults now. Tell
Here.
us who they are, you fucking
If I
rube.
had to guess, if this story is true and a little girl from 10 to 12 was impregnated, right? I would have to guess that it might be the result of one of those other parents, right? One of those other men, right? The men of the boy or another person. And that's the reason they fucking moved away, right?
Right.
Like to be in a community with a predator. I'm sure the reason that if this child had a baby, right? Because that's what she is. She's a child. If this child had a child,
well, that's why he
the
says
fam-
preteen too, because that gives
I mean,
a sense that
let's call it. It's a kid. It's a baby, man.
It's a
This
little
is the same-
baby.
10 years old. That is 1 year older than the babies that died in Nashville at the Covenant Elementary School. Just think about that. Kids at an elementary school were impregnating other kids at an elementary school. That's not how it works, right? I mean, like,
Right.
not saying that it's not
It's crazy. What the
impossible,
hell are you
but it's
talking
very
about?
improbable. Okay?
Well, the other thing here too about this story is he is framing this story as the logical reason of why he voted for
Yeah.
12-year-olds to be
Right.
married
He's
under
like,
their
my-
parents'
That
my
makes
consent.
anecdotal
no
story of some girl
It's this
getting
one
raped
example.
is why this should be right. It's like,
Right. Again, it's ridiculous. But listen to his Jesus argument at the end. It gets even worse.
After a number of years, when the children became adults and were able to care for themselves, they began to live
Oh
together.
my God.
The couple is still married today. So with this in mind, and
What?
because allowances for these extreme exceptions were not included in the language, I voted against the bill.
Oh, now he's for extreme exceptions, Gabe Sanchez. With this, when you're talking about marrying a 12-year-old girl to someone, there is
yeah.
extreme exceptions. When it comes to her being pregnant, No exceptions. None.
Yeah.
No exceptions.
Mhm.
None. It's almost like a bunch of privileged white dudes
Mm-hmm.
dictating what women and not just
Thank
women,
you.
but little baby
Little
girls
babies.
are going to do and
What
what
little
they're not gonna do.
girls
It
should
almost
be
feels
doing.
like that.
Hey, you know what would be
Because,
crazy?
man,
if this whole story
white
was just
man.
an admission of guilt.
I bet that's what it is.
Like, I mean, let's just think about it, right?
You mean
like,
he's like married to his cousin, wife,
or
sister,
yeah,
grandma
like,
type thing?
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. What's his name again?
Mike Moon. He's from the south part of the state, so he's like northern Arkansas. So it wouldn't be surprising if this is
Right. So, like, if I look at his, I'm
Arkansas.
not saying that he's
we're
married.
still married today. That's why I voted for the bill because I
He's
married a 12-year-old.
64.
Yeah,
His spouse is Denise Moon. They have 5 children.
yeah.
I'm trying to see what her age. I'm not saying that she's the one, but there is a part of me.
Well, but if
that's like,
he was the 12-year-old and she was the 12-year-old, then they'd be the same age, right? I'm just saying. If the
Yes,
story's
in theory,
true,
right?
the way he's
I mean,
saying it.
The way he's saying
right.
it. But
He's
that's
such a
not.
shit
I mean,
box,
I
the
don't know.
truth.
The guy, the fact that he's fucking doubling down on this, I can't find.
Well, you know, the
I
thing
can't
is,
find anything about his wife though. But
just look at the stop image here, right? You got the American flag on the
she's
one
old.
side.
She's older.
You got the easy on the old word there. Jesus.
Well, I mean, like
Christ.
I said she's older.
She's older.
Yeah,
she's
she's
as
older.
old as he is. Probably. They're not.
Yeah, they look.
They're not.
They look comparable in age.
Right.
I mean,
well,
he still has the
hate.
porn
Hate'll do a
stash.
lot to you. Well, see, here's the thing, and I was going to point that out.
Thank you.
Doesn't he look like
Hate will do a lot
came out of a
to
White
age
Earth
your
movie?
ass.
right? Like he
Yeah.
was. I'm just saying. He's got that Sam Elliott look to him.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, look here. I sent you a photo. This is him
yeah.
from his wedding day. So we know. So we know at least it wasn't this wedding that happened.
Oh, this is from his website too.
yeah.
Okay, so this isn't
Wow.
projection.
No,
oh
no, no.
wow.
That's not to
Okay,
say that,
this is
that's
not
not to say that he
projection,
wasn't
thank
involved
God.
in something.
Yeah.
But-
He's got a. I got to admit, his stash got better with time. I'm just gonna say. I'm not gonna show you the
Yeah,
old
yeah,
picture
yeah.
because I want to keep showing the video here.
Yeah, yeah.
But his stash got better with time. He definitely has that Sam Elliott look to him, like this guy
Right, yeah,
is a character that
I mean,
walked
he
out of the
doesn't
White
talk,
Earth.
look real nice like Sam
Right.
Elliott. You
Well,
know?
obviously,
Hold on, be right back.
I'm not saying Sam Elliott is anywhere near
oh yeah, yeah.
this guy. I'm just saying this guy's trying to emulate how he looks. Is
right,
Sam
right,
Elliott?
right.
He's trying to copy Sam Elliott. and
Yeah.
how he looks.
Let's
But,
just let's roll the tape here, Tony.
the
Let's,
VHS.
let's play the VHS.
What do you think?
tape.
This feels like it was scripted. Do you think he practiced this, or you think
Okay.
he's reading?
Back when they did
what do
do
you
tape,
think?
it was
You know,
never
that's a good
VHS
question.
if it
I
was
think,
through a broadcast network.
I mean, I don't know.
It was
I-
beta.
I would
I
have
know
to track
this
his
because
out
I
here.
actually.
I can watch closer.
It was in
Okay,
your
let's-
play the
let's-
video.
the
I'll
beta
track
that
it.
Well,
you had at home. It was
At the end here, he
broadcast
kind of goes.
beta,
If it is scripted,
which is a
it's-
bigger
if it is
tape in
scripted, he
some
goes off
cases.
script. But
It
let's
did
finish the
actually
story, and then
eventually
he'll tell
become
us
the
his
same
reason
size
why the
beta because
Bible
that's what they
fits
were
in.
using in cameras for a while.
Tragic circumstances such as these can only be overcome
Used up
through
tons
one
of tape.
avenue, the grace and mercy of God.
It was clear.
Oh, Jesus.
In the word of the Lord, Romans 3:23 states, "For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God." This couple, like
Again,
me,
I'm
have a
going to
sin
keep
nature.
saying it. You won't
Bible-
like it, but this just a fucking fact. Your religion is bullshit. Complete and utter bullshit.
So he,
and if
he
you can
says,
live by
he
bullshit,
says out loud
then your white
that this
supremacy,
couple
which is also
who
bullshit,
did an act
is
to get
just
pregnant,
fine.
like
you
me.
can always say
Right.
that this is
that
our
this couple
religion
who
and
sinned
it's right
like me.
because
Is he
God,
saying-
and
is he
even though it's
saying that
bullshit.
he would do an act that would get a 12-year-old pregnant or something? Is that what
It's
he's
just
saying here?
complete and utter
Because I
bullshit.
don't
It
know what
really
he's
is.
trying to say. And honestly, this looks scripted, doesn't it to you? Like he's reading this?
I couldn't.
They wrote this shit down. They wrote
yeah.
this shit down for him
No,
to
they
say.
definitely wrote it down. I mean, you know, looking at his eyes, he doesn't look too. There was too much movement, but yeah. Do not disparage Sam Elliott. We're not-
Catherine on Facebook. I want to publicly apologize at this point. I really do want to. Sam, if you're listening, I'm very sorry. I did not. I promise. Please don't take anything I said about Sam seriously. I was only joking. This guy definitely is not on the caliber of Sam Elliott in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, that's what I was
other
gonna
than he's
do.
trying to emulate his mustache. So, Sam, I apologize publicly for any defamation or disparagement that I may
Yeah,
have.
look, Sam Elliott's gonna come. He's gonna show up at your doorstep. He's like, hey Tony, I heard you were talking about me on your podcast. You know, like,
You know how fucking awesome that would be?
oh, that'd be awesome.
Dude,
Be like,
I
oh, can we take a photo?
Dude, I would get my fucking camera. I'm like, whoa, re-say that shit, please.
Yeah.
I'm gonna post this online. Okay, so he goes into the Bible shit, right? And the
Uh-huh.
first off, when he goes to the Bible, he's like, "Oh well, I'm the same as the 12-year-old boy who did actions to get the 12-year-old girl
We're all like
impregnated."
the, he's like, we're
Right,
all
we're
like
all-
the
we're all
we
that
are all
12-year-old
like the
boy, right?
12-year-old boy. We've
Like,
all
what the
impregnated
fuck?
a little girl.
Right,
Like,
like what the fuck?
man?
Okay, let's see if he brings Jesus into this anymore. Jesus Christ, literally.
The Bible goes on to say in Romans 6:23, for the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is
Oh my
eternal life through
God.
Jesus Christ. In essence, the
Yeah.
payment for our sin is death.
Okay.
However, Jesus paid the payment for our sin because he lived a perfect life.
Oh, wait,
was
hold on.
killed
Stop.
a
Wait,
cruel-
stop. What he's arguing here is he's saying that because Jesus died
Right.
for
Mhm.
our sins,
Right.
that we, if we commit sins, don't
That's
have
right.
to die. Which means that if you rape and impregnate a
Right.
12-year-old girl,
Correct.
you don't have to die. You don't have to die. You don't have to go to
It's
prison.
not.
you have to,
It's
you don't
not
have
a sin.
yeah,
Actually,
it's
it's
not a
already been
sin.
forgiven.
because Jesus knew beforehand.
Right,
He's like, let
exactly.
me future-proof your rape of this little
Right.
girl. You're good, homie.
Right. Hey, Wish.com Zem Elliott. Everything is cool, right? Everything is cool. The shit that you're doing and the shit you're voting on because you have these impulses to
Right.
want to fucking impregnate or excuse me,
If you can base
do
if you're-
actions that
if
impregnate
everything in your
12-year-old
life
girls,
is a lie,
everything's
and you can
fine
base
because I've
everything
already
on
paid
that
for that
lie,
sin.
then
No
everything's
problem.
fine.
Like Jesus,
Wash
because
away.
I don't have to be. I don't have
Jesus
to
on the
deal
cross
with
looks up
reality.
at God and goes,
Everything
"Forgive them,
in it is
Father,
a
for they
lie,
know
and
not
I'll
what
live
they
by
do."
that lie, no matter
Also,
what.
some of them are going to
Whether
rape
it's
little
true or
girls,
not.
and I just want you to know that my death is just going to cover
Right.
like tabula rasa. We're going to blank
Right.
slate. Just no
Right.
one has to die if they in fact do that.
Mulligan.
Yeah, he's
Mulligan
like-
on the whole 12-year-old girl
and,
thing.
and God's like, the fuck, you know?
That should be a skit. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's finish it up because he actually invokes Jesus on the cross here. Let's listen.
Cruel death and resurrected from the dead. Romans 10:9 tells us that if we confess with our mouth that Jesus is Lord, believe in our heart that God raised him from the dead,
If we confess with
If we
our
believe in
mouth-
magic, if we believe in
Exactly. If I can
Oh
put
my
my bullshit
God.
forth
This
and
fuck-
have
let
you
me tell you
believe in
something.
it, and it's the way
Mike
we
Moon,
live,
in
then
that hearing,
this lie
when
and
he
bullshit
tried to
are the way
justify
we should
what his
go.
vote was, and the video went viral. The dude should have just resigned.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just fucking resign. Go on about your life. Go be a fucking lobbyist. Almost every single
Thank you.
one of
Go
these
be a
Missouri
lobbyist.
representatives and almost every single one of these state senators become lobbyists.
Go be a
Do
lobbyist.
wanna-
Thank
do you
you.
wanna
Go
know
do.
why?
But see, there's the
I
other
live
thing
in
we
that
need to get rid
Well,
of.
because
We need to
the
get rid
only
of
person
paid
who's gonna give them
lobbyists.
money is,
We need to
a
actually put
soulless
into there a
corporation.
constitutional
well, I mean-
amendment that says no
or some
paid
right-wing
lobbying.
fucking trash group.
Lobbying can
But
be done by
here's
the
the thing.
constituents
In
and
Missouri,
only by
in the
unpaid
90s,
constituents for their
we had a
own.
referendum on the ballot. Now, I was too young to vote at the time, but the referendum on the ballot.
What do you mean?
was-
You're like 78, dude.
Yeah, I know. I was still
I
watching
know we get
VH,
rid of the
VHS tapes in there.
501c3s and
But
C4s,
here's the
but
thing.
that's the whole
in the
point.
90s, there
We
was a
need to get rid of
referendum on the
that
Missouri
bullshit.
ballot to term limit state representatives and state senators, right? It was to term them. So they can only serve so many terms. Now, what happened is you get a new batch of idiots every fucking couple of years. Okay? Because literally there is all kinds of people who have to end up being state reps. And what happens is
You either
there's
get a bunch of
new
really great people, or
batch
you
of
get a
dumb
bunch
fucks.
of really crap.
every couple of years because they
Yep.
don't know how to legislate. They don't know how to
Exactly.
fucking write bills. They don't know how
Exactly.
this shit works. They have no clue. And what ends up happening is the lobbyists run the state because the
Right.
lobbyists know how to write bills. The lobbyist knows how the legislative process works.
Correct.
They pick and choose who are the power,
Exactly.
who hold the power in the House and the Senate in
there's
Missouri.
reasons,
And that's because
for
there's term limits.
term limits, and there's
So when
reasons
someone says the
for
term
not
limit
having
shit,
term
like,
limits.
oh, we should give them term limits, like, no.
No,
They have a term limit. We, the people, the government, get to fucking fire them if we want to, because their term has a limit of what that term is. That's the limit of the term. So what ends up happening in Missouri is you have
Again,
some dumb
we could have term
motherfuckers,
limits, and
some
I agree it's
stupid,
kind of stupid, but
racist,
get rid of these damn
bigoted
lobbyists.
motherfuckers pressing their
Stop
stupidity
with these
on
fucking
the rest of the
lobbyists. We
state.
need to make
And
laws
it's all
against
fucking,
paid
it's all
lobbyists.
under the fucking vision of these lobbyists and these special interest,
Exactly.
right-wing special interest groups in Missouri.
It's
And the only reason why is
501c3s,
because these people
501c4
don't
is
know what the
fine.
fuck
No,
they're
no,
doing.
no.
They have no
Because
clue.
then
When
you
they
can
come into
tax a
office,
company that's made just to do that.
Lobbyists
If there's
take
a
them by
company
the,
you make
by
up
the
to do
fucking
that,
collar,
guess
like,
what?
Come
It
on,
gets taxed
friend.
fully.
We're going to give you all kinds of training on how to be a lobbyist.
Doesn't become
when
a
you're done being
non-profit to take
state
apart
rep,
our goddamn
because you're going to make hundreds of
entire
thousands of
democracy.
dollars being a lobbyist, because that's what I was. The
Mhm.
lobbyist who used to be a representative is now taking under their wing the Missouri fucking reps who are
Right.
brand new and turning them into lobbyists eventually. That's what
Yeah.
they're doing.
I mean, it's grooming, right? Lobbyist grooming is really what it is. But look at Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? She didn't know shit. And Laura Loomer last week came out in a Twitter space and was like, look, and also Ali Alexander was like, look, none of the shit that Marge knew, like she didn't know anything when she came into Congress. She was trying to help platform Laura Loomer, and Laura Loomer was like, oh, this. And Marjorie Taylor Greene's like, oh, I didn't know about that. Oh, can you help me write some tweets? Can you help me with this legislation, all this stuff, like points of view? And you have Marjorie Taylor Greene, a sitting congresswoman who didn't know anything, who was taking her cues from a self-described and proud Islamophobe, right? A MAGA, QAnon, First Amendment, I'm being suppressed type of person, was giving the talking points to Marjorie Taylor Greene. So if you wonder where she got those talking points or how these people in other bodies of government are getting their points of view, like it's not
What
from
the hell
them,
is
it's
that?
from other fucking idiots. It's from other corrupt idiots
All right.
who either through their own malicious intent or through their own dumbass kind of perspective
Dumbassery.
are influencing other people to groom them to be just like them, right? So it's funny when you see a group of Republicans who are like, don't be sheep. We're a bunch of lions. We're our own, man. We're not a bunch of conformists. That's the Democrats. And then you're like, you guys all wear the same stuff, say the same stuff, use your money at the same place. Like, there's nothing different about you guys, right? Other than your first and last name, which is probably fucking Chad Smith. All fucking Chad Smith.
Exactly,
Catherine
Chad.
points out a good
Chad
point.
Smith.
She says Jess Piper has been
Smythe.
screaming from the rooftops.
Oh, you mean the fake
Most
Smythes?
of these fakers run
Yeah.
unopposed, and that's Missouri's
I'm sure
first
a lot
problem.
of people
You
don't
are
even know that
absolutely
there's a race.
Oh, I
right.
got a
and
lot of
we
new
have
people moving
we've had
in
Jess on the
because
show,
of
and maybe this is a good idea.
don't
Catherine, thank
freak
you
out
for
about
bringing
that.
this up. Maybe we should have Jess on next week to talk about Mike Moon and talk about these issues. Because listen, it's not just Tennessee where this is happening. It's not just Missouri where this is happening. This is happening on state levels everywhere. And now that the Tennessee Republicans and the Missouri Republicans are doing vile, gross shit. I mean, Jesus Christ, I got another fucking video here that we don't have time to show. I think it's Idaho. Where the fuck was this guy? He was talking about abortion. Oh, fuck. I got the video here. There's another asshole in the state. Yeah, Nebraska. Excuse me, Nebraska. Nebraska Republicans are
corn
moving.
fuckers. I mean, corn huskers.
No.
Right, they're
Nebraska.
moving for anti-LGBT bills. They're
Right.
moving on
Which
bills to
tell me
take away
what the hell
women's
once you
healthcare
pass those bills you've
based on the
accomplished.
Great Replacement.
That's what I'm trying to
theory.
figure
I mean,
out.
it's
Once
fucking-
they passed
it's
all
weird-ass
these
shit.
bills,
Well, here,
what
you
have
know
they
Fuck it.
accomplished?
Let me
Show me
see
what
if I
you've
can,
done for the community.
get this
Show me
video.
how it's helped somebody.
And I'll show you this video. This is
That's
out
what
of
I
Nebraska.
just show me what
And I
bill
think-
you
let's
just
see, I
passed
think his name
and
is
show me how it
McDonald.
helps somebody.
So let's listen.
Keep showing me. I'm just
We have
looking.
killed 2,000 babies since abortion became legal.
Oh Jesus.
We have.
Those are 2,000.
We've
people in
literally,
the state of
you
Nebraska.
know for sure
I wanna
we've killed
clarify
2,000
something.
people.
He is actually
or
misspeaking
have there been
here.
somewhere
He
in the
means
neighborhood of maybe
200,000, but he's saying
1,900
2,000. And the reason why
miscarriage
he's having this
corrections
Freudian slip here
and
with the
fixes,
number is because
and
he
maybe
doesn't
as
actually
few as
believe it.
maybe 2 to
He didn't actually believe
250,
it. He's
what you
using
would
made-up
call
fucking numbers and
abortions.
shit that's made up about abortions and women's health
Because it's
care
bullshit.
to fucking oppress women.
Right.
In the
Because that's not true.
That's
I
why
almost
he can't-
guarantee
he
you
doesn't
most
know
of
the
what you're
difference in the
talking
speech
about
between 200,000
were
and
actually
2,000.
miscarriage
He's a fucking
corrections.
liar. And he's using made up shit
Right.
to fucking lies
What the
to
fuck
oppress his
are these
hatred
buses
on
doing?
other people and get in their fucking business. But listen to how he uses a great replacement here. This is fucking weird, wild shit. Listen.
That could be working and filling some of those positions that we have vacancies.
What?
They're not here. Our state population has not grown except by those foreigners who have moved here or refugees who've been placed here.
Wow, those foreigners who have
Why is
moved
that?
here.
It's because we've killed 200,000 people. These are people we've killed.
And he is saying literally out loud, hey, white babies died, which is not the truth. White babies died, so now we got brown people here. And it's a great replacement.
But also, this whole argument about, oh, well, now we can just throw them in the labor force, man. Like, that's what they want, right? They want
it's
they want
insanity
these
that
little
they
white
think
babies.
they think kids, and then they think labor.
Yeah,
like immediately, they're like kids, work, child labor. And Jess Piper, which brings it round full circle, Catherine, thank you. Jess Piper, the last time she was on the show, she talked about voucher systems are a slow march to fucking child labor laws being stripped away, like Arkansas did. Yeah. So maybe we should have Jess back on the show. I think I might send her a message
That's a
after.
good idea.
But
Yeah.
it really
Have her back
does show
on the
you,
show.
man.
That's really
Republicans,
good.
they do not have any actual solutions because
No.
what they want to do.
Yes, like I said,
is
go back and
throw
say, now
people
that
at a
you passed
problem,
these
right?
goddamn
And there are
laws,
certain
show
problems
me
in life
what
that you
you've
can't,
done
like,
that's
there's
really
like, oh, we're gonna make
effectively
this better. We're gonna
fixed
make it,
any problem
more
that we
efficient,
have.
whatever, like,
And what you're going to find is
Republicans
every
are
fucking
the
bill
problem-
actually
they're the type of people in the
encouraged
company who
and
are like, oh, we've
started
got
and
this
fucked
problem
up more
with the
shit
company,
than
we're
it
losing
actually
money. You know how
fixed
we
because
fix
it
we throw
didn't
more people
fix
on it, which is like the
shit.
most costly
Because it's
thing
not
that you would
based
ever
on
do.
science or fact.
But
It's
the fact
based
that
on
he's like, oh, you know
bullshit
what?
and white
We have these
supremacy,
babies.
which is bullshit.
And we still, even if you want to talk about how old
Your
kids have to be like,
religion
oh, we have a
is
fucking
bullshit.
preteen baby, right? A kid.
Nope. Prove any part of
those
your
kids
religion to be
to
true.
work hard. We need that.
Without
we need
saying
that boy
Bible.
to go
Because
to
Bible
the
means
factory and
bullshit.
Go work there. Yeah, fuck the labor laws that we.
Because
put in
go
place
back
to
and
protect
read me
kids from
any
actually dying
passage
and
of
make
your
sure that
Bible
we're
from
safe.
6,000
Well,
years
also,
ago.
When that baby comes home with his little
Ah,
lunchbox that has
oh,
like fucking Stars
huh?
logo on
What?
it, he's gonna come home to
It
see
didn't
his little
exist
baby girl wife
because what?
in front of on a stool in front of the sink, washing the dishes and making sure that dinner's ready because now they have a new baby that's coming into town. And that baby is going to be the next generation that's going to follow daddy baby into the factory.
Exactly.
And then little girl baby is then going to be helping mommy baby
at the
inside the
factory.
house, folding the laundry and
Or at the-
cooking the
yeah,
stuff and
exactly.
getting stuff out of the oven.
This
washing the
1950s
dishes.
bullshit thing
That's
that
the
never
thing that they want.
existed.
They think the younger they are, the younger they can have babies.
Right.
The better we are at,
Well,
at
I
protecting
mean-
our percentage population of white people. Right.
So
Which
this
not
Nebraska
true.
state senator's name is Steve Erdman. Excuse me, I misspoke earlier.
It's
Erdman,
just not true.
E-R-D-M-A-N.
None of their shit is
Erdman
true.
here, he definitely wants uneducated white people to make sure they populate the state of Nebraska.
Breed them dumb. That's what he wants,
Right.
man.
Breed
He's like, if I
dumb
keep you
as
young,
shit.
dumb, and I won't finish the rest of that statement.
Why not?
That
And
is what the
fucked up
Republican
so
Party
you can
wants,
come?
right? That is what
And all we
they-
want is your
they
cum
want
so we can
100%.
actually just
They want
reproduce.
young people,
Even though
they
those
want
those
young
people that we're
people who they
producing
can
will
force
produce nothing
not to go to school, right?
worthwhile.
Because they want to defund education, so they want to have private
Right.
school, or rather, not private school. They want to have homeschool, where you're able to indoctrinate your kids with religious beliefs,
Bullshit.
anti-government beliefs.
Yep.
You're this
Which
or
I
that,
don't get
whatever
this.
it might be.
How the hell
To
do you
then say,
have a
okay, great, well, the
society
next
that
step in your
functions
life
if it
is to
runs
go to
that
work.
way?
And
Because
the
it
kid's like,
doesn't
well, I'm over
work.
this. And he's like, stop talking back
Go
to me, kid. You're
goddamn
going
to
the fucking
Somalia
factory.
and you'll see just
That's
how
what
well
they
that
want, right?
fucking
They want
works.
a kid that's young,
You
that
dumbass
disposable. Like, oh,
motherfucking
if the kid dies, we'll
shitheads.
just make another one. If the kid dies, we'll just make another one. We didn't have to waste 20 years for this kid to raise up, go to school, get educated, and then go into work. We got half that time. They're like, we got a 10-year-old kid who's able to do, he's got little hands. It's great to fit in cogs and get things out
We
of.
don't care
right?
if
'Cause
it
that's what
gets
they're like,
mangled
little hands,
or
yeah,
thrown-
those
'cause a
little
kid's
hands can
throwaway.
Pull anything out of that, right?
He's a
Like,
throwaway.
little hands, great for plumbing. You know how, it's just like,
I can't even believe that his first instinct when he's talking about children being born
Because
or not
they
born
believe that
is,
everything
number one,
is
the great
disposable.
replacement, and then we need labor. We need labor.
Except
It's
for
really
their
down to
own
face
fucking
plant all the
asses.
time.
like we
It's
shouldn't
the
be like,
party of
hey,
face plant.
make sure that the kid
I disagree with
grows up to have a nice,
Randy
healthy,
that they are
loving,
willing, and a few other
loving
people who say,
life, right?
"Oh, they're
Even if you
willing
wanted
to
put
shoot
the
through their
religious
foot
aspect on it, you're
as
like,
long
oh,
as they
look,
take out the."
This
No,
kid grows up and
No,
we want him to
no,
follow the
no.
path of God. And
They're
Christ
not
and
willing
follow
to
those
shoot through their
sermons
own
and
foot.
preachings,
Nope,
right?
sorry.
fine,
No,
whatever.
no,
You
no.
want to argue that.
But
then
every time they
if you-
do
oh,
shoot
somebody
through
asked
their
for
own
little
foot,
hands
they
up.
always
Yeah.
go,
So
"I
little-
meant to do
little baby
that."
hands.
You did say hands.
Little
You did
baby
say
hands.
hands.
These are
Sorry.
the hands that the Republican Party
They
wants
don't mean to
use
do it.
for
It's
labor.
just that when
want
they
those
do
little
it, they always
hands
go, "Oh, I meant to
fitting
do that."
inside the
I
tiny
meant to do
spaces
that.
that the big adult hand that's overseeing the factory or whatever the harsh conditions are wouldn't be able to do, right? They're like, you know what? Why do we need to pay for that machine when we've got a little baby here that can crawl in and get it out for us, right? That is the Republican Party. They don't care if babies die. They don't care if babies are healthy. They just need the babies to be replacing. They need the babies to increase their population size. But then also they need the babies to say, oh, great. Well, we don't have to risk our lives. We can just tell the babies what to do. And that is exactly. I mean, like someone. I just saw someone say dark humor. It's not dark humor. This is the truth. These are people.
They're saying this shit in legislative bodies on the record.
You look at other states where they're like, oh, well, let's repeal this law that protected against having child labor. Like that's the world we live in.
The governor of Arkansas is rolling back child labor laws so that companies and really honestly parents can take advantage of child labor. They can I'll make a joke of it and I will try to bring some humor into it, but the unfortunate reality is it is true, right? This is what they're pushing for. They want younger kids, they want them dumb, uneducated, they want them breeding to make sure that they can pass through their indoctrinated, religious, white supremacist, bigoted views. Because they don't want an education system. They don't want public education. They don't want diverse education. They don't want having an outside perspective to say, oh shit, you know what, America's really fucked up. Maybe I shouldn't, support these things, or maybe I shouldn't live here. Maybe I should go broaden my horizons and go elsewhere, right? But instead, they want them to stay in the town. They want them to stay with the family. They want them to stay in that job. They want them to stay doing that thing for the rest of their lives, right? Which is a very short-sighted and dumb mentality. But we know the Republican Party doesn't think. They don't think things through. They think very short-sighted, right? They think, oh, well, if I fix this problem right now by having more kids, then it's fixed forever, right? It's just like the inflation. It's just like gas prices. It's just like trying to expel Justin Jones and Justin Pearson. They do not think past the act of doing it. They don't think of the repercussions, right? Just like you look at repealing the EPA, you think at repealing all these regulations that were put in place.
You don't
to protect us,
where they fucked up. Where it fucks up because it fucks up people's lives.
They go, oh, this is a win. We own the libs. We got them.
I disagree with you. I think they are thinking about it. Just like our local librarian here, the Mighty Librarian says, if you control education, you control the people.
Okay, that is a good point.
And really, honestly, I think I would take it one step further and say, if you don't educate people, you definitely control them.
You control them.
That is their goal.
I've said that from the beginning. And the thing is, these guys are young. They don't even know that it's been going on since the 70s. I've watched it.
Of course he does. Because if you're not educated, then I can
going on right now. When we stopped teaching how to learn, and we started teaching to a test. When you teach to a test, you are not teaching how to learn.
I'm not going to get 2 hours.
We'll do a shortened bonehead. We'll go 30 minutes on the bonehead.
Yeah, you're funny. Okay, I want to point out a bonehead here before we go to break. The bonehead of the week. You pointed out Cat Turd and Donald Trump Jr., the interview of the century.
Oh my
Literally,
God,
Donald Trump Jr. interviewed Cat Turd on his Triggered podcast.
Oh my God!
This is not. This is
I can't
real.
get over
You
the fact
did
that
not.
these people- see,
No,
you
did not.
when your
make this.
entire life
you
is based
fucking
on a lie.
screenshot
You can continue to keep that lie going.
Before I was like, I can't take this anymore, and I just like, great, got a screenshot. Because the questions that he asked were, I think that was like the second question he asked, which was like, so how did you come to be who you are? And I just want to point this out. If anyone on the internet wants to go search around for who Cat Turd is, because we know that the one photo that was
find anymore.
Well, we know that one photo was manipulated. He's not really that thumb looking guy. But I will tell you this. So in the interview, Cat Turd said, I live in the South, right? He said, I joined social media. I created my account 4.5 years ago. He said also when he started, he was 54, which means that right now he's 58, 59 probably. So
close to 60.
And there's other things in the interview where he reveals it, but I'm sure if anyone on the internet wanted to look around, I'm sure you could find out. There's the Cat Turd LLC. You can find out the location. You can find out who he is. You can cross-reference the age.
He's got a huge record, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm sure if you really looked, it wouldn't be too hard to find. But he was revealing details about himself, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not going to be." He's like, because they talked about being anonymous, and he was like, he said, "Yeah, like I didn't really plan on this being a thing, but like the left gets so triggered that I'm anonymous. I don't know anyone who got triggered that they're anonymous. we make fun of you because you're a fucking
By
idiot.
the way, we can find out who you are.
You think that because Nancy Pelosi held the phone to her ear and it was a dark screen because that's how a proximity sensor works, you think that there's a conspiracy that she didn't call the National Guard or that she wasn't on the phone with the governor or the mayor or anyone else. I mean, the guy is really the shit that's inside the litter box. We'll just say that.
He is. He is a cat turd.
He is a cat turd. He's a definitely
bonehead,
turd.
But he didn't make our bonehead.
That's the problem.
But
these white folks are just.
There are plenty that are. We're going to try to keep.
When
it
this is what you show us that you
bonehead
are,
of the week.
How are we supposed to do anything else but say
this
nope,
break? Don't go anywhere. Bonehead of the week next.
This is what you are.
We'll be right back.
We're gone.
Mark.
Have a good
60
one.
seconds.
We'll see you Monday.
This is the